I love flowers, but sometimes the florist hasn't delivered or I've been travelling and haven't had time to organise myself. Yet I know that fresh flowers are a fast track to everyday happiness. When I was younger, I always thought that being an adult meant that I could always have fresh flowers in my house. They make me smile, and I especially love scented blooms. I was lucky as my mama is a brilliant gardener, and there were often fresh hyacinths and bluebells and lilies from the garden filling up the house. Now, petrol station flowers are a far cry from that. But there are times where I'll run out to my local corner shop or supermarket or petrol station and see which flowers they have that I can pimp up to add that sense of calm and freshness to my home. And that's what this video is all about. I'll give you 3 simple tips to give your corner shop blooms a little more va-va-voom. I'm Aleksandra Olenska, and I've worked as a creative director and stylist for luxury brands including Chanel, Celine and Vanessa Bruno, as well as magazines including Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. And I've been featured in international press including Forbes, Elle, The Sunday Times and The Independent. I now help directors and leaders in midlife and beyond to rebalance that work, busy lifestyle you've become accustomed to, because you know life's too short to stay in that career-driven comfort zone. I help you to redesign and restyle your life, especially at midlife with life-changing transitions such as the breakup of relationship, divorce, menopause, or turning 40 and beyond. From your home and your wardrobe to your mind and social life, I help you with your stylish next chapter to step into your best life, because I know you're ready to rock life again. So if you've got corner shop flowers, you can always just chop off their heads like this. You can use regular scissors, you don't have to have special secateurs or anything like that. Especially if the flowers are already quite open like this one. It means that then, they're really nearly at the end of their lives. Also, don't be afraid to pluck off the outer petals if they're looking a little bit sad and brown. It just keeps it looking a bit more fresh. And actually, I've seen them do this in a very fancy rose specialist in Paris. So once you've done that, you can of course just pop it in a tiny vase. Like this. I love the proportions of this. A giant oversized rose head in a tiny little vase. It's all quite fun, isn't it? And of course, when you first get your blooms from the supermarket or petrol station, chop off the ends and remove any leaves to let the water and energy go to the blooms so they'll last longer. So we've been inspired by Marie Antoinette. We've chopped off their extravagant heads. Maybe I spent too long in France. And this works particularly well for frilly flowers like feminine roses, which supermarkets often have aplenty, or carnations as well. I think they're massively undervalued. And you can position clusters or lines of small vases together, which is always going to look great. This brings us neatly to the idea of employing repetition. If you select the same flower or the same colour and different blooms, it's going to be much more impactful. White always looks much more chic and expensive than it actually is. Lots of the same flowers in a huge display can be really effective. A cloud of gypsophilus, for example, those tiny little pom-pom flowers that you often see at weddings. Cluster smaller vessels or put them in a line with the same flowers. And employ the principle of design, the rule of 3. Odd-numbered groups, especially 3, tend to look more harmonious and interesting, since the eye is less inclined to divide the group. And we all know that the human eye is drawn towards clustering, according to top neurosurgeons, including Ramachandran. You can also use a florist's frog or oasis to enable you to more easily create interesting displays simply and make any vessel a vase. So this is a florist's oasis. It's a bit of a deformed one actually. I know it's not great for the environment, and also it does release some toxic chemicals. So you do have to be really careful when you're using them. This is a wet oasis. So ideally what you want to do is you want to leave it for a while just to soak up water. And then we just leave it for a while to soak up the water. And that way, when you arrange your blossoms in it, they're going to last longer because the oasis is already full of that juicy water that's going to keep them alive for a little while longer. Okay, so the oasis has absorbed lots of water. And here I've chopped the heads of these supermarket daffodils. Aren't they beautiful? You can see they're starting to open up already. So just open them up, and I love the yellow with the lilac as well, the lilac tablecloth. So now we're just going to start inserting them into our oasis. You can also use a little bit of florist's wire if your stems are much too soft. So you want to just very slowly, I love doing this. It's so therapeutic. You can see already how beautiful it's going to look when you've got many of the same flowers, right? It's always nice to have something like a statement bowl. I use this one for all sorts of things, but if I'm using it for flowers with an oasis, got to make sure you really clean it thoroughly afterwards. Next up, use one of my golden guidelines. Find your twist, your touch of spice, a hint of ugly, and play with contrast. If you've been following me for some time, you'll know that I've got simple guidelines that you can apply to your wardrobe and home to feel elegant and relevant at midlife and beyond. And if you haven't already, then do subscribe to my channel for lots more style inspiration. So balance out nauseatingly pretty blooms with an ugly twee, heavier or more masculine statement vase to add intrigue. Don't forget to change the water every day ideally, or at least every 3 days, more if you're in a hot environment. Choose the uglier or less attractive flowers sometimes. Let's face it, sometimes at a petrol station you don't have much choice and just go for it. Put them in a gorgeous vessel en masse et voilà! Merci and thank you for watching. À la prochaine, bye bye!